Cool. All right. Count me in when you're ready. Mm-hmm. I'm ready to go. Mm-hmm. Oh, shit, yeah. Boy, I tell you what, if it one thing I can't stand is technical difficulties on a live television broadcast, or in this case, a network broadcast. And if you couldn't tell, that was my horrible impression of Stone Cold Steve Austin. As you will see, I got my vintage Stone Cold football jersey, the only football jersey you will ever see me wearing. Thank you to Ann Still on Fairfax. Anyway, welcome to Kayfabe Korner with yours truly, Jamie Iovine. We are talking today about the Royal Rumble and, most recently, Monday Night Raw. A lot of stuff happened in 2 nights, and that's what we're going to talk about. Now, I have a special guest with me tonight who's going to come on and join us in a little bit to kind of bounce ideas back and forth, but this is our second show. Thank you for tuning in. The first episode, I really appreciate your guys' comments. I appreciate the input. Usually us wrestling fans aren't so kind to each other. So I appreciate all you guys tuning in and sharing your thoughts, asking questions. Like I said, interaction is encouraged on this show. Interaction is what drives this show. So if you have a question or just want to chime in, go to the Twitter at shopxsn.com. That's shop, the letter X, S-N. Or if you want to tweet something or question, you could go to the hashtag ShopXSN or hashtag Kayfabe Korner. That's with 2 Ks, not how your mama spells it. Kayfabe Korner with a K. Anyway, let's get down to business. Royal Rumble 2016 was last night. Wasn't that fun? I wish I could say that the Royal Rumble was fun, but there were some snags. The Royal Rumble is usually the biggest night that I look forward to next to WrestleMania. 30 entrants. You don't know who's going to be, more often than not, you don't know who's going to be coming in. Unfortunately, last night was very predictable and lacking in surprises, frankly. Like I said, if you want to chime in at any time, do hashtag Kayfabe Korner. That's Kayfabe Korner. We're open to questions. We're open to pretty much everything. And I'm going to bring in my guest who's going to co-host with me tonight. His name is Sean from Burger Records, a very reputable record company that's kind of breaking ground right now. And they're based out of Fullerton, California. And he's also a wrestling fan, so it doesn't matter if you run a successful record label or you milk cows. We're going to bring you on this show tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, Sean from Burger Records, please join me. Yay, welcome, Sean. How you doing, buddy? Sean from Burger Records, ladies and gentlemen. And as much as it is what you want to be able to look at the TV, our beautiful faces, we're going to have to look at the camera. We're looking at the beautiful people. So, Sean, you're a wrestling fan, correct?
I am, yeah.
For about how many years?
Since the late 80s, me and my best friend Bobby Lopez in elementary school got into wrestling and started watching pay-per-views for WCW and WWF over at his house. Went to some live events. I saw Hulk Hogan fight Sergeant Slaughter and the Iron Sheik in a handicap match, and at the Stelland Arena in Fresno back in the
in Fresno. You went all the way to Fresno.
I'm born in Fresno.
Oh, that's
born
true.
And raised.
Yes, that's right.
And
what was the first match that turned you on to wrestling? Because I can name mine. I want to know yours.
For me, it was the one that sticks out is seeing Earthquake wrestle on like Superstars one morning and being like, "Holy crap, that guy is huge!" And
yeah. Do you remember his opponent?
On that guy. I don't remember. Probably some jobber.
Yes, but shout out to the Brooklyn Brawler. It was probably you. Hi. Good to see you, Brawler. I hope you didn't take that the wrong way. So I have some talk. I mean, my match, personally, one that turned me on, was WrestleMania 14, Rock versus Shawn Michaels. Stone Cold Steve Austin versus Shawn Michaels for the title. I had no idea that Shawn was injured that entire match. That to me, that dealing with a broken back, the entire main event, and then having to leave the next day. I didn't know that at the time, but I was watching two of going to be eventually now two of the best ever to do it. So personally, that's that's how I start. I like to figure out where you're coming from, who your inspiration was. So now that we've kind of become acquainted, we've done we've done the wrestling handshake right quick.
Too sweet.
Let's do it. Let's get into this. So our first topic, I want to discuss this. Did you watch the Rumble last night?
We watched the Rumble last night. We have the Wrestling Network at the shop, so.
For a nominal fee of $9.99, of course. Thank you, JBL. But I wanted to discuss the Kevin Owens and Dean Ambrose match. So if we could pull up an image of either of those people. Dean Ambrose and Kevin Owens started the night.
They did. It was probably one of the best matches of the night.
If not the best match of the night. But in my opinion, Kevin Owens and Dean Ambrose are kind of in a weird flux right now with the company. I'm not entirely sure. Let's talk about Dean first. Dean Ambrose, in my opinion, is one of the most talented people on the roster right now.
Sure.
No question. He's the closest we have to Stone Cold Steve Austin in terms of hijacking automobiles. The hot dog cart incident with Seth Rollins was amazing. Other than not being allowed to curse, in my opinion, he's the closest that we have to a badass rule breaker like Austin was.
Of course.
Where do you think Dean fits in the current scheme of things right now, and do you think they're handling his gimmick as well as they should be?
I think he's the gray area. He's like a badass babyface, but I think that they're doing well with him, and he's got the Intercontinental Championship, whatever, for what it's worth, and
because they did try to put some prestige back in it with Daniel Bryan doing the whole,
and then he lost it,
and unfortunately he was injured again, and
that's kind of lost all the momentum that it was building.
It did, and had some lackluster title holders until then. But I agree with you wholeheartedly. I think he's just a talent that is being underutilized right now. He can talk way more than his Shield brethren Roman Reigns. And he can carry a match better than Roman Reigns, and which we saw last night on the Royal Rumble when him and Kevin Owens had, in my opinion, one of the greatest matches. I mean, I can't say 2016; we're barely into January, but definitely a memorable one in Rumble history.
For sure.
So I just had to frame that. That frustrates me. Dean Ambrose should be higher on the card. He should have way more TV time, way more microphone time.
Yeah.
And to kind of parlay into that, it's kind of funny that they were putting this in a match together. Where does Kevin Owens go from here?
Well, there's an obvious thing with Sami Zayn that since Sami Zayn is back,
which we kind of touched on at the Rumble, when Sami Zayn returned, he eliminated Kevin Owens, and I think there is a lot of unspoken. I mean, I think a lot of questions left unanswered with Sami Zayn and Owens.
That's going to be a good feud for sure.
Well, they had such great matches in their time at NXT, and it's just a shame to me to see that Sami hasn't been brought back up again after he was originally injured his first match during an entrance.
Yeah, that every time I see him throw his shoulders up from now on, I'm like, oh my God.
He did one. Last night he only did one shoulder. He usually does two, but he only did one. He was like, okay, I remember that shoulder doesn't work so well. But yeah, so I want to see, if I were the god of wrestling, as Hunter put it tonight, if I was Vince McMahon, I would put Brock Lesnar, the Beast, with Kevin Owens at WrestleMania. I would absolutely love Brock Lesnar and Kevin Owens going at it, because Owens can take a beating, and Brock doesn't really have a medium setting. Brock either goes or not at all. And I think Kevin can keep up on the mic with Heyman.
Oh, for sure. As
we know, Kevin doesn't talk. Brock doesn't talk all that much. And so to bring it back to you, this is a discussion, not just me venting what I want to happen at WrestleMania. Where do you want, if you had to choose, are they using Kevin Owens right, and are they going to, or do you see a better horizon for KO?
Definitely. I mean, he definitely sputtered after he had maybe his entrance into the WWE was too big. Like, where could you go after John Cena? Yeah. So that was a little bit of it was a good start, but I think they didn't really look that farther. They didn't look that far down to see what's going to happen.
Great series, though.
Yeah,
great series of matches.
Yeah. But I think him with Sami Zayn is great. I want to see Brock Lesnar versus Braun Strowman, which is where they're
my friend, that's where we're going to have to differ, because that is a major rumor on the internet right now that the Beast Incarnate will at WrestleMania 32 in Dallas, Texas,
The Beast Incarnate will face Braun Strowman, one of the newer members of the Wyatt family, a very large man, to say the least, but has not yet had a single as far as I can.
No singles?
As far as I can recall,
mostly.
not one singles match yet his entire career. And he's going up against one of the most blockbuster names on at one of the biggest shows. In the year of the probably what Vince is trying to do, make it the biggest show ever.
Yeah, I don't know if he'll make it to WrestleMania. I mean, Braun Strowman isn't that much of a name to go against Brock Lesnar unless they really build him up in the next couple months. But just when I saw them in the ring together, when I saw Braun Strowman and I saw Brock Lesnar, I was like, oh shit.
Well, then that brings me to another point.
They've got to do something.
That brings me to another point, that maybe subtract Braun and have Brock and Mr. Wyatt go at it.
I bet that's more likely to
I
happen.
would love to see promos between Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman and Bray Wyatt. Because we all know Brock doesn't like to talk. So could you imagine the promos that Bray and Paul could possibly do? Because nobody has ever really, not even Taker, nobody's ever gotten really into Brock's head before. No mind games, because Brock, I don't know, they bill him as more of a machine than he is a person. So to have Brock show some sort of, I don't know, weakness, fear almost, I think that's what I
and that's what the Wyatt family's thing is all about, is instilling fear and things and making it like when they went after Roman Reigns' kid or whatever, and they were taking
his
all
daughter.
those photos and stuff.
Yeah, and I just, I would pay for that match.
Yeah.
I wouldn't pay for Strowman versus, as much as I have
I bet you're right. It will be.
I just don't think people want to pay money to see Brock Lesnar fight an underling of Bray Wyatt.
Totally.
But it's obvious that they're setting up for it, because it took the entire Wyatt family to eliminate Brock Lesnar from the Rumble last night. So they're going to use use them. If not at Fastlane, then definitely at WrestleMania.
I still would like to see Braun Strowman and Brock Lesnar, just because they're two
If not
super
for
huge guys.
If not for a Raw match.
I just want to see them like.
Because he's the only one who's really more gigantic than Brock.
Yeah, and when I saw them in the ring together, it was like,
that could
wow.
be interesting.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, I want to talk about something else. AJ Styles has finally arrived in the WWE.
After much speculation and rumor.
It's rumors, pretty much, other than WWE blatantly saying, we're hiring AJ Styles. They had John Cena tweet a picture of the guy, for Christ's sake.
I remember, yeah. He responded with a tweet of John Cena. AJ Styles did.
WWE is so subtle, so subliminal with their messages. But yeah, a long time coming. AJ Styles, a phenomenal talent, no pun intended, brought to the phenomenal one is in WWE now. Long TNA talent, long Ring of Honor talent. Why do you think it took him so long to get here?
From what I hear, Vince doesn't like putting the lead guys from other
TNA Ring of Honor.
Exactly.
I don't even know if Vince knows what Lucha Underground is, unfortunately. But first off, I was never a huge TNA fan. Whenever I see TNA, it's almost a chore to get through. I'm sorry, any but current workers with TNA. I'm not trying to single anybody out in particular. It's just the pacing that show goes is very boring, and the crowd isn't there.
Yeah, I've only watched a couple episodes.
Because half of them are there for the theme park.
Yeah.
Because it's filmed in Orlando. I mean, it's filmed at a theme park. Yeah. Isn't it like Disneyland or something, or like Universal Studios? Yeah. So half of them are like, oh, well, before we go to the Simpsons ride, there's a wrestling show on. Let's go over here. And so they don't know who these guys are.
Yeah.
And I think that this signing would not have happened without Triple H.
Oh, for sure. I mean, Triple H, I'm sure he's had a hand in all the recent signings of indie darlings.
Samoa Joe. Yeah. I mean, we got Austin Aries out of nowhere, which don't worry, we don't have an image for Austin Aries, so don't worry about that production. I will have to find one of those later. Another recent acquisition from TNA, and did he ever wrestle Ring of Honor? Austin?
I'm not sure.
Well, Austin Aries, another important acquisition by Mr. Helmsley for the WWE, well, NXT right now. But AJ shot right up to WWE, had spent no time in developmental.
I think they handled it really well with the Royal Rumble, with him being eliminated by Kevin Owens. And
so I think that sets up a great
for sure,
series with Kevin Owens and AJ. They could go at it.
But then when you brought Sami Zayn in, it kind of negated any
it's
kind
like,
of rivalry.
Oh, wait, I forgot that he was there.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I would love to see another Sami Zayn Kevin Owens match. I would love to, but I want to see Sami Zayn on the main roster.
Yeah.
I want Sami on the roster because I don't. You could see it in his face when he was injured during the Cena match that he was like, "This was my shot,
Yeah.
and I blew it."
That I can't even begin to understand how heartbreaking that must
His
be.
first
to just,
night on Raw,
to do it yourself, like coming into the ring.
and not even during a match.
Yeah.
Your first night, not part of the company, on Monday Night Raw, you're going up against the guy, and you get injured on your entrance, and you could see it in his face. He knew what it was.
Yeah.
He hated it. And it sucks. I mean, like, I want him to have another chance. And I think the WWE Universe is ready for that chance. Like I said, guys, if you want to chime in, ask any questions, do hashtag Kayfabe Korner. That's hashtag KAYFABE KORNER. I'm so shocked I got that right the first time. Me and Sean are kind of talking about the Rumble right now. We're going to transition into Raw in a bit. We're just going over some key points right now. Please chime in with your questions or comments if you have any. But yeah, AJ Styles is here, and I think, he's been getting a great reaction.
Oh,
I
yeah.
think the fans are
Everybody
getting smarter.
was definitely chanting for him last night.
And tonight.
And tonight, yeah. But I hope he doesn't feud with Jericho. I hope that's not what they're leading this to.
So, if you're watching this show, we assume you watched Monday Night Raw. AJ Styles had his first ever match, because I mean, well, he was in the Rumble, but
Yeah.
AJ Styles, his first as AJ Styles did job to the Hurricane on one episode. I think it was Velocity back in the day, as I don't know what he was going by then, but he did job to the Hurricane many moons ago. But AJ Styles, as a heavy competitor, his first match was on Monday Night Raw, and he faced Y2J himself, Chris Jericho. And if you'd missed it, it was
okay.
There was a decent match.
There was nothing in it where it blew my mind or anything.
No, it was solid. There was nothing wrong with
No,
it. There was
not at
no
all.
botched spots. There was, nothing exciting. But because at the end of the match, AJ sticks out his hand to the older Jericho, and after the usual wrestling way, there's a huge pause,
Yep.
and they have to look around to see if anybody wants me to shake this guy's hand, and then eventually does. But before AJ goes, he brings it back in, whispers something that we don't hear, and he just continues on his way with a face of, I guess, maybe frustration.
Yeah.
You don't want to see a program with AJ and Jericho.
I think there's probably some better people out there to do it with AJ, but I don't know. Jericho really hasn't done anything in the past couple of years that I've been like, whoa, cool. He jumped off the top of the cage at Raw, I think, last year.
Yeah, against Bray, I think it was.
That was great. But other than that, I don't know.
What I'm hoping for, because while the match was solid in structure, the match didn't have any sort of visible flaws. I personally think that Jericho is because Vince doesn't know who AJ Styles is.
Yeah.
And Vince, in my opinion, in the higher ups, other than Hunter, hired AJ on faith alone. I feel like when Hunter signed AJ, Vince was like, "This is on you if this doesn't work."
Yeah.
And I think just from Vince's standpoint, he's putting him with people that know that if he falls, he could pick him back up.
For sure.
And Jericho's always been a safe bet.
That makes sense.
Jericho's always been a safe bet to be put in with somebody to help them out. I mean, he lost to Fandango's first match at WrestleMania. We saw how that turned out, but that's neither here nor there. That's the superstar who I was like, who's missing from the Social Outcasts?
Exactly, Fandango.
What is Fandango? Like,
Fandango just followed Burger Records on Twitter.
Oh, he did?
He did, yeah.
Where's Fandango at? Why aren't we
you're
Fandangoing
listening.
right now? Fandango, if you're listening, we miss you. We have not Fandangoed in quite some time, and, you haven't worn this ring gear in quite some time, and I would love for you to wear that back again. I mean, if anybody else should be part of the Social Outcasts,
It's definitely
it's
him.
definitely Fandango. Where's he been?
Sandow.
Sandow, God,
He got a great reaction at the pre-show because he wrestled in the pre-show yesterday for the Rumble.
I was
hoping he would win, but
why was Titus O'Neil not with his usual primetime player partner, Darren
I
Young?
think they're breaking up.
Again?
Yeah,
And we
for
saw how well that worked last time.
Yeah.
Two guys that make a very entertaining tag team, but by themselves, it's a shame. It's a real shame because they're athletic, but Darren can't talk, and neither can Titus. But
And Titus was getting booed like crazy last night at the Royal Rumble.
Was he?
Yeah.
I didn't even notice that because that's another topic I want to bring up if we can jump back into the Royal Rumble right quick. the Rumble is usually known for bringing in surprise entrants. Last year we had Bubba Ray. We had, before the Dudleys fully came back, we had DDP. I'm missing a few. Like, I'm sure Kevin Nash came back for again.
Yeah.
I'm sure he was in there again and tore a quad again. But this is humor-only wrestling fans. No, like, me and you were laughing. They're like, what, does he tear his quad a lot? But yes, Kevin Nash does tear his quad quite often. But yeah, but we didn't get any, other than AJ Styles, which is not really a surprise if anybody has Twitter. But we didn't have.
Triple H.
Again.
Yeah.
Kind of expected, but we didn't have any names.
Yeah.
And it was in Florida where a lot of these retired or semi-retired guys live. Were you a little disappointed about the lack of surprises?
I would have loved. I like the surprises.
That's what makes the Rumble to me.
Exactly. Yeah.
And the fact that we didn't get, we didn't even get the Godfather.
I know.
You know,
or Boogeyman. I think Boogeyman was in it last year.
Rhino. Well, like any of the ECW guys would have been great. Because remember last year, because it was in Philly, there was a huge rumor that there were going to be a bunch of ECW guys, and we only got Bubba last year. See, that's one thing. That's one thing that I didn't like about the Rumble this year. There were a few things, but the lack of surprises really irked me this year, and it really bummed me out. And it made for a lackluster Rumble. Triple H winning the title at the end was the ending that made the most sense. Mm-hmm. But that brings me up to my next topic of discussion. Do you think Hunter needs the belt right now? Was he the right person to put the strap on?
I'm sure they're just thinking about WrestleMania right now and their lack of talent that they have because people are injured. So I'm sure they're scrambling to see who's going to headline WrestleMania. And Triple H seems like...
Out of everybody, he's the safest foible.
Exactly, yeah.
So if you guys didn't tune into the Royal Rumble, you don't have the WWE Network, we have a new World Heavyweight Champion right now, and that is the Game with a shorter haircut, Triple H. Triple H won the Royal Rumble last night, as a lot of internet people speculated, entered it at number 30, eliminated Roman Reigns, and
did
this. And he even did a crotch chop.
That was my favorite part.
An aggressive crotch chop, to say the least. Did you notice the crotch chop from Jey Uso during his tag team match?
Oh, no, I didn't.
He did a small tribute to Billy Gunn. Did a small Billy Gunn uppercut. Yeah. So Triple H is the new champ. Beat Roman. Not a bad showing for. I expected him to be in that match a lot quicker. Not as long. I meant.
It was weird that Roman was out of the match for half of it. He got injured and then went to the back and then just came out.
They pulled an Austin McMahon Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
What year was that? Was that 98?
It was probably it's probably 99 or something.
98, 99, the year Vince McMahon won the Royal Rumble. That was booked correctly. They kind of tried to do the same thing in the same vein this year. Had Roman Reigns on the outside, injured for the majority of the time, and Triple H comes in fresh. Last guy enters, beats everybody, becomes a champion. A lot of internet people got upset about this, as internet wrestling fans do. Mm-hmm. And the topic is, does Triple H need a 16th, or no, it was a 14th.
It's 14th, but he's going to take himself to the 16th so he can beat Ric Flair's...
Well, he's got John Cena to beat that as well.
Yeah.
The top three title reigns are Ric Flair, John Cena, and I think Triple H is third in terms of amount of times.
Yeah.
Chime in, guys, if I'm wrong on hashtag KayfabeCorner.com. Just Kayfabe Corner. See, I'm old where everything had to be .com. Remember when everything had to be www? People don't even say www.
Nope. It's all about cutting the fat.
So we have a comment from the chat room. The WWE needs Hunter with the belt. Needs. I don't know if WWE really needs anything, but yes, I agree that the current product makes most sense with Hunter with the belt. Roman is not strong enough right now to carry the belt. As we've seen. He's getting a lot more positive reactions as time goes on, but he still is not the... John Cena gets mixed reactions wherever he goes, but he sells the most merch out of anybody in the roster, by far.
I love John Cena. I think John Cena is great. I love that he's the good guy. I like good guys.
It's become full because it's what we grew up on.
Yeah.
It's become full circle. I grew up on, my generation was Austin. Your generation was the what I like to call the golden age of wrestling. And because there was the golden age, the Attitude Era, and what we have right now, which is the reality era.
Yeah.
We have a question from the chat room. Are you a Triple H fan?
I like DX, and we do the suck it thing to each other at the shop all the time.
Of course.
But
So
as far
in
as
chat
like
room-
wrestling and like as far as history goes, I don't think he stacks up quite to your Ric Flairs or your Macho Mans or your Ultimate Warriors or even your John Cena's. Like,
Because I think, well, first off, chat room, you're going to have to be a little more specific. There was about 3 incarnations of Triple H throughout his entire career. There was Hunter Hearst Helmsley, DX Triple H, the Game, the Cerebral Assassin, and the current COO of the company that we see today. I am personally a fan of everything past DX. I'm surprisingly, a lot of people will disagree with me on this. I didn't become a Hunter fan until after he returned after his quad tear, after he injured it with him and Austin and Jericho and he who shall not be named. And you all know who that is. And I remember I was watching Raw in Madison. I was watching Monday Night Raw, Madison Square Garden, the day he came back after he was gone for nearly a year. That was when I became a Triple H fan. And he came to the ring fresh, super pumped. You heard that the Motorhead opening riffs, and he wore 3 jackets for some reason. He had he had a t-shirt on, a leather jacket on, and an outer denim jacket on. And he was sweating up a storm, and he was inside of a 12,000 person arena, and that's when I became a Triple H fan. So to go back to what the topic was, in such a limited roster, half of the major workers are injured. Triple H does make the most sense to me to be the champion. He's the ultimate foible right now. He is the biggest heel we have. The only other heels we have are loved. The only other heels are the New Day and I love the New
they're
Day.
the best.
I can't get enough of the New Day. I was wearing their hoodie on the last episode, and I would love to have Xavier Woods one day in the store here at Meltdown to film an episode of Up, Up, Down, Down. So Xavier, if you get wind of this, hashtag Kayfabe Korner, we would love to host an episode whenever you guys roll back into town, which I think won't be until Hell in a Cell again because they moved SummerSlam.
Oh, did they?
To the Izod Center.
Oh.
Or not the Izod Center, I'm sorry. They did move SummerSlam this year to most recently in New York. It's usually at Staples, but they had Hell in a Cell at Staples this year, and they had SummerSlam in New York. So I think they are switching it. But to go back what I'm saying, there's no other really dastardly villain. It's as close to Austin versus Vince as we could get. And with Hunter as the main event to WrestleMania, you can't help. They're hoping that you can't help but cheer for Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
They're kind of like, well, if you're not going to cheer for Roman, who are you going to cheer for?
Yeah.
Which old school wrestling fans might just cheer for Hunter again.
Yeah.
Because I've always been a Triple H fan. I was never a fan of his DX days. I thought he was too poppy. I thought he kind of relied on more of shock value more than he did actual compelling storylines. He didn't become fully his own cerebral assassin game until after the quad injury. In my opinion. That's just my opinion. I want to go on to another topic, though. Daniel Bryan, absent at this year's Royal Rumble.
They couldn't bring him back because everyone would be cheering for him.
And
that
he
would be the only way you could go. If you brought him back, that's the only way. If you want to go with what the fan is not what they do usually, but people would put up quite a fuss if they brought him back and then eliminated him.
But wouldn't that have put more heat if Hunter eliminated Daniel?
For sure, but then you would expect Hunter versus Daniel Bryan.
And they would not do that.
Exactly.
So we're coming. All of Daniel Bryan's most recent title reigns, he won the World Heavyweight Championship at WrestleMania 30. Had to give it up because of injury. He won the Intercontinental Championship in a great ladder match at WrestleMania 31. Had to give it up because of injury. If he is cleared, should Vince and Hunter book him back into WWE storylines? He's injury prone.
He definitely. Well, he wants to wrestle, so.
So bad.
Yeah.
And he said it himself that he likes it more than actually being on TV. He said he would do it in a room with 3 people watching, as creepy as that sounds. But yeah, our poor guy, he just can't get his shoulders up.
Now he's on.
This is what he wants to do.
Total Divas.
Yeah, but now he's a Total Diva. He's a Total Divas sidekick now, unfortunately, which sucks. If I was going to curse, I don't know if we could curse or not. It sucks that we cannot have more of Daniel Bryan, but I also at the same time see where he's coming from. Daniel Bryan has had to give up every major title he's had in the past few years on injury, and and I just imagine Vince hates that.
And he's probably scared to put a belt on him just in
You can't
case
put
that
him in.
happens
You can't
again.
put him in any program. You can't. It's impossible because I mean, I would love to see more Daniel Bryan. I'm a huge Daniel Bryan
Yeah.
fan, but it would be a miss to put him in. I just want to know if you agree with when I say that Vince is scared, or Vince or whoever the higher ups are scared to put him back in, out of fear he will be injured again.
I'm sure that's a fear, but there's no way they could have brought him back at the Royal Rumble just because he would have been such a fan favorite that even if, I mean, they want people to boo Hunter, that would have been a great way for people to boo Hunter. But then he'd be back in the mix, and you wouldn't. I mean, I'd love to see him go against AJ Styles. That'd be
Man, how great would that
that'd
be?
be really awesome. But
Did they ever compete in the Indies?
know.
They probably did. But Daniel Bryan's wrestled everybody at some point. So do you think we ever actually will see Daniel Bryan back on WWE television?
I think that WWE would be dumb. If he's going to wrestle somewhere, they would be dumb to not let him wrestle for them instead of going somewhere else.
He's worth way too much
Yeah.
money.
For sure.
Because, I mean, Vince is smart keeping him on the payroll because he will go somewhere else like
And I'm
Japan.
sure they're still selling merch from him too.
I wouldn't be
I went to Chile a couple weeks ago, and I saw a kid wearing a Daniel Bryan Yes 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 shirt.
And my WWE sources has confirmed that, yes, you could go to the WWE shop and buy Daniel Bryan merch still. And we have a question. I like when we have questions.
Hey.
Who do you expect to come out on top at Fastlane main event? Brock, Roman, or Ambrose? I'm going to let you field this one first.
I would love Ambrose to win, but it would probably.
I'm sorry
be
to interrupt before, just to bring people up to speed. If you missed Monday Night Raw, the main event for next month's pay-per-view, Fastlane, which everybody cares about, no, that's not why people get the that's not why people get the network. It was announced that the main event will be Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns versus Dean Ambrose. The winner will go on to face Triple H at WrestleMania for the World Heavyweight Championship. Back to your answer.
Roman will definitely win for sure, just because they're obviously building it for the WrestleMania main event, Triple H versus Roman. But I would like to see Brock win or Ambrose win over him probably.
Oh, man,
But seeing Brock versus Triple H, I don't know.
There isn't, as much as I would love to see Brock in the main event, because I'm a huge Brock fan. I mean, everything Brock does is I love. Even though he doesn't say anything and barely does anything, the
He
fact
said
that
Suplex City, bitch. So
exactly,
There you go.
exactly, which turned into one of the greatest YouTube videos of all time when they remixed it with Tyga Rack. I don't know if you
I don't
saw
know.
this.
I
Yes.
haven't seen that.
Well, Rack City by Tyga, they remixed it with Suplex City, which is a great YouTube video if you guys ever seen it. Thank you, Paul Lee, for showing me that, Mr. Dangerously. But yeah, I mean, I would, as a fan, I want Brock Lesnar to win everything. I just think he should have every belt ever. Brock Lesnar is the beast incarnate, and he should be that because he should win every match because he legitimately can. He legitimately can beat up anybody in that locker room, and that's why I love him so much. But we are sensible. We have logic. Logic says that Roman Reigns will come out on top at Fastlane, and he will go on to face Triple H at
I wonder.
WrestleMania.
I've been waiting for somebody to do a heel turn, like a big heel turn.
We didn't get two major heel turns expected this year were either Roman and Dean, and we got neither.
But I would love to see one of them go bad, fully bad. I think it would do a lot for Roman Reigns. But if they're going to be putting him up against Triple H, I really don't see them turning him bad.
So your dream booking, Dean Ambrose pulls an upset of sorts.
And then
And
what,
goes-
Roman Reigns is upset. I don't know. Who knows? Who knows? But I would like to see Ambrose versus Triple H if we're going to answer the question.
That's what you would like to see.
Yes.
So that's he wants Dean, I want Brock. Logic says it's going to be Roman. That's a big problem right now with the product is it's becoming very predictable.
Yes.
Even with so much where the fans are predicting it before the wrestlers even write. I mean, before the writers even write it, which is a shame. And again, we were asked, do you think it was a good idea that they put the title on Triple H? We kind of touched on this earlier, but to go back to it, do you think did he need it? That was a separate issue. Do you think it was a good idea? I do think it was a good idea because he's sort of untouchable right now. He's not even defending the title at Fastlane next month, and I doubt he'll make any house shows, any live events.
No.
So he's a way of, in my opinion, he's a heel version of when Rock held the title back in 2014, when Rock didn't have to defend it ever. But lost it to John at WrestleMania and only defended it once against CM Punk.
Yeah.
So I think it was a good idea to put the belt on him. He's the ultimate heel. He's the only other person who the WWE Universe would care that Roman Reigns would beat. I can't think of any other bad guy out right now that really protrudes as much hate as Triple H and their authority does.
It would have been great to see Ambrose win and then Roman Reigns get upset and turn heel against Ambrose.
An Ambrose Roman Reigns main event
that would be
in
huge.
the future down the line would be amazing.
For sure.
Would sell tickets if you asked me.
Yeah, I think so.
And it's a big pet peeve of mine when WWE really has to rely on older talent
And they
to
do
get
it all the
ratings,
time.
and it sucks. But and I mean, I would be amiss to say that I didn't miss the Dudleys, that I don't pop occasionally when The Rock comes, or where Austin comes out and stuns.
Just to say, The Rock, he was amazing tonight.
That's a great segue because that was the next question.
Oh, yeah.
Great segue, my friend. So if you watched Monday Night Raw, if you didn't, go to WWE.com because they definitely posted it on the highlights section. The Rock, Miami hosted Monday Night Raw tonight, and as expected, they had a surprise guest, and as expected, it was The Rock because he lives in Miami. And unfortunately, from what I'm assuming, due to contract and insurance reasons, The Rock will be at WrestleMania 32, but he will not be competing because he is filming Baywatch.
That's too bad.
It is too bad because I thought the big build-up that we were going to get based off of last year when The Rock was in the ring with Ronda Rousey and Triple H and Stephanie was we get Rock versus Triple H and then Ronda versus Stephanie. And now that WrestleMania is 2 months away, we see that we are not getting that.
Yeah, probably not.
And but to bring it back, there was an amazing segment that happened on Monday Night Raw where The Rock came out, broke the script, went in and went into the crowd, started talking to a bunch of fans dressed up as wrestlers. There was Randy Savage, there was Hulk Hogan, there was a white guy dressed as The Rock, which was amazing. The Rock called out Byron Saxton of not knowing who he was. Poor
great.
Byron. I'm sorry, Byron. I'm sure he knows who you are. I know who you are, Byron Saxton, so don't worry about that. I love you, Byron. I wish you all the best, and I miss you, buddy. But then the New Day came out, and The Rock and the New Day already incredibly talented, incredibly entertaining on the microphone.
The most entertaining thing on WWE.
Right now, no question. And The Rock and the New Day just going at it on the microphone. I haven't seen that much chemistry between The Rock and any sort of heel presence since Y2J debuted on Monday Night Raw.
For sure, yeah.
Like, nobody else has been able to keep up with him. Never before have I seen The Rock, after a promo that the New Day cut, he had to stop and think, okay, what can I make fun of? Oh, the things that are on their heads. The Rock got away with saying llama penis on live television, on PG television. The Rock got away and made it trending. Ladies and gentlemen, this is why the internet was invented. Tonight, on what's the date? It's January 25th. The Rock on Twitter had thousands of people tweeting #llama penis. This happened and can only happen on Monday Night Raw.
Only with The Rock. If
And only
anybody
with
else
The Rock.
did it, they would be fired.
Fired immediately. He said bitch. He referenced weed. He
talked to Hulk Hogan.
He talked about Hulk Hogan, which unfortunately not a lot of people can do right now. How are we doing on time, by the way? Oh,
We are 38 minutes.
38 minutes in? Cool. We got plenty of time for more fun because I got some more topics.
Nice.
But yes, New Day, Rock, incredible segment. Poor Xavier Woods, always the brunt of. Let's throw up a picture of Xavier Woods for a second because I want to touch on him. We've touched on the Rock enough. Enough people have touched on the Rock, as weird as that sounds. Xavier Woods is always the butt end of all these returning superstars. Every time the Dudleys put somebody through a table, here's Xavier Woods. The Rock gave Xavier Woods, I mean, not only did he get us 2 super kicks from the Usos, but it was also given a people's elbow. First off, I just can't stress enough how much I'm thankful. Because this New Day thing would not have happened without Xavier Woods.
Yeah.
That Xavier Woods should be recognized as the brainchild for perhaps one of the most entertaining and watchable factions and ideas that WWE has put out in quite some time. And you could tell that they're writing their stuff.
Yeah.
You can tell that they're coming up with all the cultural references. When I'm trying to think of a reference. Oh, when one of the Matadors fell out of the ring and Big E ran over and said, "What are those?" Like that, I was like, they get it.
They know pop culture. They know what they're talking about. Whereas WWE is promoting Mountain Dew right now.
And Flow Rida.
And Flow Rida again. Oh, we're like, okay, how many times can we use a Flow Rida song as a theme song for a wrestling event? I think he's gonna have to make a new album just for wrestling
He
pay-per-views.
should release a wrestling record.
He might as well. I mean, we use all of his goddamn song. I mean, they use. I still talk like I'm working with the company. I am no longer with the WWE. Let's make that perfectly clear. We have another question though. How do you think this year's WrestleMania will stack up? There's no way it will be one for the books.
And the thing is, they've been touting this as like the biggest. We're gonna make.
They
this the
wanna break
biggest
records.
Yeah, WrestleMania ever, but no John Cena.
No
This will
Cena.
be his first WrestleMania he's ever missed.
In like 13 years, I'd say. Like I know he's been with the company, but longer than that. But I'd say about 13 WrestleManias that John's made consecutively, and this is his first one. That
Poor guy.
Joking John is, he's broken. He's not going to be there anymore. It sucks.
No
And,
Seth Rollins.
one of the comments I got from last week's show is they said, "You have so many toys. Why don't you play with the toys more?" I don't play with my toys as much as I want, you guys. You can't tell me how to play with my toys. I'll play with your toys. But anyway, no. WrestleMania will not stack up to how great WrestleMania was last year. Also, I think what helped last year was the standards were very low for WrestleMania 31. A lot of people didn't expect it to be all that good, but blew a lot of expectations out of the water. I mean, even Sting and Triple H was great. And
But-
Sting looked like Beetlejuice at the end of the match.
And I can't believe Sting lost that match though.
Why did Sting lose that match? That's still one of the biggest. I'm going to go off on a tangent right
Okay,
now,
let's
if you
do
don't
it.
mind, guys. We're going to go off on a tangent right quick. We're going to bring it back a year to WrestleMania 31, Sting versus Triple H. Now, for those of you who don't know who Sting is, I think we have an image of Sting. If we could throw up an image right quick. Can we throw up an image of Sting right quick? I think we have an image. If not, don't worry about it. Sting has been probably one of the greatest wrestlers of all time. Multi-time WCW champion, multi-time. Was he ever with the NWA?
He might
Not
have
the
been.
NWA you think of, but.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to go really quick because we only got about 5 minutes left. I thought we had longer than that, but I guess I was timed out incorrectly. So let's go back to, I will go on Sting. So we're limited on time, so I'm going to go to Sting on another tangent for another night. So I'm going to go on to one more topic, and then we're going to pretty much wrap it up. Ooh, this is very interesting. I want to throw this up right quick because this is what I want to end on. Stardust. Let's bring up a picture of Stardust. I'm a huge Stardust fan.
Me too.
I love Stardust. I love everything Cody has done with the gimmick. I think he took what was essentially going to be Goldust Jr. and basically just made it his own, which I respect. I love. He changed his wrestling style up and everything, and it worked perfectly. Today, at 10:30 a.m. Pacific time, Stardust tweeted, I forgot to send the image of the tweet, so I apologize those viewing at home. He tweeted, Stardust is going away. Stardust is leaving, something like that. Something where Stardust isn't going to be there anymore. It was very cryptic. He had no other explanation other than that. All of his tweets didn't even mention that afterwards. What could this be leading up to?
I saw a tweet from Cody Rhodes' private Twitter not too long ago that said that WWE has no interest in Cody Rhodes returning.
Interesting. And I love Cody living the gimmick too.
Yeah.
Whereas like
He's got 2 Twitters.
yeah, there's no like Cody Rhodes doesn't exist. He's dead. He's not.
But I would love to see Cody Rhodes return.
Yes, I would, but that's something to think. That's something to ponder on, ladies and gentlemen. We have a tweet from one of my favorite superstars saying he may be either leaving or changing things up a bit, and I'm excited to see that.
But before they do that, they need to have Goldust versus Stardust in a real,
A
in
good
real
one, not
yeah,
where the ref screwed
exactly.
screwed the finish
Oh
up.
my God, that was so bad.
That was horrible. But Sean, as we're wrapping up, I got to thank you for coming by.
Yeah,
that was
thank you
a
for having
pleasure
me.
having you. And next week we have a big guest, a big guest. He's a great person to have on this show, and I'm shocked we got him. And I'm not going to tell you who it is because it's going to be a surprise. But next week on Kayfabe Corner, right after Monday Night Raw, you're in for a shock, ladies and gentlemen. And for Sean, this is Jamie, Kayfabe Corner, #Kayfabe Corner with your questions and comments, and have a nice day.
Thank you.